Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the video. And today, considering the genius, guess that I had in successfully predicting the Celestial Toymaker would be the next missing episode to get the animation treatment, I figured, well, how about I try again? So let's just get into this. So I think first of all, I think it's a good idea to show some visual aids. This is what the Hartnell animation collection looks like. And I threw in the Crusade on the season 2 box set, so it looked a little healthier than it does because I don't think we'll see an animation for the Crusade. So that's Hartnell's missing episodes plus the Mission to the Unknown reconstruction by the University of Central Lancashire on YouTube. And then this is what we have for the Patrick Troughton era, minus the Underwater Menace, which has not been released yet for this region. But that being said, I think it's kind of obvious we're going to be getting a First Doctor story. But quickly, let me explain why I don't think it'll be a Second Doctor. The Highlanders might seem like a smart bet, introduction of Jamie McCrimmon, the most popular companion of the 1960s. But here's the thing. I think that they're going to want to, because that's kind of a big deal, I think they're going to want to go for one that's a little bit smaller in scale. Because, we just had Underwater Menace, which was an apology, essentially, for a, old DVD release of that story. And now we're getting the Celestial Toymaker, which makes sense considering the character just appeared in the 60th anniversary specials. So the Highlanders, it could make sense for that fact, but also it's been in contention before. I feel like they might want to save it for a little later. Wheel in Space is probably the one a lot of people are going, oh yeah, Wheel in Space, that could be next. I think this would not be a great decision. I feel like this one should be saved for after a few other not as popular ones are done, because this is the last Cyberman story of the 1960s. And so once you do that, you're out of Cyberman stories, and you only have one iconic monster story, the Daleks' Master Plan. So I don't think Wheel is a smart move, and the Space Pirates isn't that popular. I mean, there are rumors that most of the story has been found. If that's true, then I could completely see them animating the two, what would be the two, because there are rumors that, basically all but 1 in 3, I think, have been found. There are rumors because Apple TV or something has the descriptions for just a bunch of random Doctor Who episodes up on the site. Including most of the Space Pirates. So, I mean, I could see that, but I don't think they would do that unless they actually recover some. So, let's move into the 1960s beginning era with the First Doctor. Okay, so, what Hartnell stories are missing? We are currently missing Marco Polo, the Mythmakers, the Daleks' Master Plan, the Massacre, the Savages, and the Smugglers. So, wait, Marco Polo, Mythmakers, Daleks' Master Plan, Massacre, Savages, Smugglers. Yeah, 6 stories. So, which one do I think? Well, let's go ahead and cut out Daleks' Master Plan. I could see them doing this if they do it in a certain way, which is part 1, part 2. It's a 12-part story, so I could see them commissioning the first 6 episodes, them animating it, doing some behind the scenes on the first half of the story, and then a separate commission happens for the rest of the story. I could see them doing that as a way to save budget and to make it look like not as big of a task as it is. Just label it the Daleks' Master Plan, parts 1 through 6, and then Daleks' Master Plan, parts 7 through 12. I think this could be a good way to do it, could make it a little cheaper, and could make it look as not a big task, or not make the task look a little smaller than it is. So I think that could be a way to do it, but also at the same time, I feel like they would have announced that as part of the 60th if they were doing it that way. So I don't think we'll see that one next. Marco Polo. So basically, I'm just gonna go ahead and cut out and just get to the point. I think a historical is gonna be the next one. The Savages, I get it. Final story for Stephen Taylor could make sense, but at the same time, most of what we have left is historicals. Out of the 9 stories left, Marco Polo, the Mythmakers, the Massacre, the Smugglers, and the Highlanders, 5 of the 9 we have left are historicals. I don't think they're going to save all of those for last. So, I think we got to knock out one of those. I already said I don't think the Highlanders will be next, and adding on to that argument is I don't think it'll be a good test case for historicals because the introduction of Jamie might impact sales. Also, that's the only Troughton story that falls in the historical genre. So that would also impact sales. Well, their ability to determine whether or not it would be viable. All right, so here's another one. Marco Polo, I think, is the most wanted historical to get animated. However, here's the big thing. I think this one is actually going to be kind of difficult as a sell. I could see, it's a very popular story. I think it's one of the most popular First Doctor stories. But at the same time, it's 7 completely missing episodes. And, it's apparently a very big story. So I could honestly see them wanting to do a test case, sort of a backdoor pilot kind of thing to see is this going to sell? Because I feel like Marco Polo, it's very popular, yes, but I don't know if that would be a good test case or not for the historical genre. So I think it'll happen, but I think it'll be one of the last historicals. The Mythmakers, that vinyl release that happened a while ago could be the biggest piece of evidence to say it's coming. Because a decent amount of the animations actually have gotten vinyl releases. Sometimes a little beforehand. So I could see them going with the Mythmakers, but at the same time, I think it's probably, it's a story that I don't think is generally brought up in conversations involving missing episodes. I mean, I think the Massacre might actually be brought up a little bit more because so little of that story exists. This one is known for being Vicky's departure, so I mean, that could be a point to sell. Could be. I don't know. The Massacre. This is, out of any of the ones in this video, this is the one I want the most. I watched a recon of this one, and it's an incredible story. It is, in my opinion, maybe the best story of the First Doctor's era. Kind of funny, it doesn't feature the First Doctor. Kind of like how my favorite story from the 10th Doctor's era doesn't actually feature 10 that much. Human Nature of the Family of Blood. Moving along from that point. The Massacre would be incredible, but it's also incredibly dark. The ending literally is a giant massacre, like the title suggests. So I don't know if we'll see this one get animated at all. This is an incredibly dark story, but it's also such a great story at the same time. Okay, so if you've been paying attention, you've realized there's one story I've named, but I haven't discussed yet. And that is the Smugglers. I think the Smugglers could be the next animation. Reason number 1. When the Underwater Menace was originally rumored, the Smugglers was rumored alongside it. This mirrors the Evil of the Daleks and Abominable Snowmen being rumored right beside each other, and both of them happening. A little while later, we had rumors another story would be coming, and that filled in the gap. Galaxy 4 with the Evil of the Daleks and Abominable Snowmen, and now, we've had the Underwater Menace, and then we And, now there's also rumors of the Smugglers at the same time. And then not long later, we had rumors of the Celestial Toymaker, which we're now getting. We could get the Smugglers. I looked at some numbers. It's a very small cast. Plus, they already have character models for Ben and Polly. And on top of that, it's pirates. It could be fun. This is a simple story, 4 parts. Honestly, I think this would be a great pick. I mean, it would be a good test case for historicals. It would allow them to see how they would sell without, getting a big deal. Just sort of a regular average story. And then, on top of that, that also means season 4 is almost ready. That would mean as well that you would have access to every story from the War Machines through the Power of the Daleks. But I mean, that's not that big. That's 4 stories in a row. But getting this story would sort of complete the sort of, changing tide that happened as the end of season 3, beginning of season 4. With the introduction of Ben and Polly, this being the final historical for Hartnell's departure, Troughton's introduction. It sort of forms this sort of streak. And I don't think anything big happens in this story, but I think the Savages could happen. I mean, it could make sense to do another sci-fi story, but I think the Smugglers or another historical is the best bet. And I'm saying the Smugglers because I think this is the smallest one, and I think they're going to want this one to be the test pilot for historical animations. Because, as it stands, we've only had 2 historicals actually get any kind of treatment from the BBC. The Crusade Recon, and the only animation we've gotten for historical, The Reign of Terror. We haven't actually, since the full animations have started, we actually haven't gotten a full, pure historical. So, Smugglers, I think it's the best bet. But what do you guys think will be the next one? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Also, do you like my suggestion of the Daleks master plan being split up into 2 releases to make the workload lighter and to make it to where the budget isn't, ridiculously high? Let me know in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe. That's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.